Hey there, comedy fans. Welcome to another edition of My First Joke. This is the podcast where we dive into the hilarious stories of how comedians got their start. I'm your host, Karim Kanji. Today, I'm joined by comedian Husein Panju. Today's episode is brought to you by welcome to travel.ca. If you're looking for the best and most affordable all-inclusive trips for you and your crew, check out welcome to travel.ca and tell them I sent you. Finally, don't forget to subscribe to My First Joke wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you enjoy what you hear, share it with your friends, leave a review, and hit us up with those 5 stars. It really helps the show grow. Okay, that's the announcements. Let's get into it. Here's my conversation with Husein Panju. Husein, thanks so much for joining me today.
Kareem, thank you so much for having me. Big fan of the pod, long time
Thank you.
listener, first time guest.
All
And
right.
yeah, real honored to be part of this.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. So here's my first question. I ask everybody this, so let's get right into it. Um, and I'll preface that with letting people know, and I hope you don't mind, because you know I don't edit this. You are a lawyer by profession, by
Yes.
education, by training. What inspired you to try to do stand up?
Yeah, thank you. That's a good question. So I've been a big comedy nerd for most of my life. I've been a
Okay.
regular nerd for my entire life, but the comedy is a big part of that as well.
Yeah, yeah.
And I've always been actively involved in producing comedic content, even if it was like
Oh,
comedic adjacent. So before I went to law school, I was really involved in competitive debating. So when I was in
okay.
like high school and undergrad and university, I'd go to debate tournaments. So they would give you a topic and you have a short amount of time to articulately present an argument one side or another. And
Yeah.
so I really liked it. I got to travel across Canada. I got to
Look at that.
go across the world for competitions, and I enjoyed it. But the part I enjoyed the most is that kind of like a side quest. So between the debate rounds, they'd have something called public speaking, where similarly they would give you a prompt
Yeah.
or a question, and you'd have a few minutes, and then you just gotta speak. And most people do try to do some sort of entertaining aspect. So I would try to make it comedic. So I was doing stand up before it really was stand up. So I really
Okay.
liked it. And then since I graduated, I got invited to host and speak at events. Kind
Yeah.
of developed a reputation of being a funny guy. So did some weddings and panels. And a lot of people would say, you should do stand up. But as a very like stereotypical millennial, I just had so many side hustles at any given time.
Fair enough.
Um,
Yeah.
so I won't go through all of them, but like one of them is that I've been doing this web comic series for about 12 years. So I've been writing and drawing one comic a week for that same time. And I go to Comic Cons to exhibit my work across Canada. I'm also a caricature artist. I used to have my own podcast series as well for about 10
Okay.
years where I interview lawyers. I chaired a nonprofit. I teach the university. And so between all of that and having a full-time job, it just became a bit too much. And I'm not saying any of this to brag. Like, if anything, I think it's more of a cautionary tale that I don't recommend doing all these things because, again, I really want to do stand up, but I just felt like I was so burned out, like mentally and with time wise as well.
Yeah.
And
Sure.
yeah. And then recently I decided to wrap up the podcast, kind of reach an organic end,
Okay.
and I'm stepping off the nonprofit. So yeah, it just kind of led me to invest more of my time to like do the thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I did it quietly at first. I didn't tell a lot of friends and family I was even performing. Just to,
So you just
those,
showed up at an open mic?
yeah, a few of those,
Yeah.
just kind of case the joint. And then
Okay.
once I felt a bit more confident, I enrolled in a few courses. So I did some, I think like you, I did courses through Comedy Bar.
Yeah, yeah.
Danforth. I've also done classes through Comedy Lab and this
Okay.
place called On Task Studio in Liberty Village. And yeah, I've really enjoyed doing it ever since.
That's really interesting. Did you get up on stage specifically for stand up prior to taking a class?
I think I did like once or twice, and I just had
Okay.
some like rough ideas in my head for what I wanted. I didn't really. I think I had like the muscle to develop the jokes, but
Okay.
I didn't. I felt like I needed to at least tell myself I had done it, just to
Mm.
gauge how my comfort level would be. But now having done a bit more like formal like training,
Yeah.
I feel
Yeah.
a bit more comfortable in my own skill set.
So here's what I'm curious about. I want to ask you this.
Yeah.
So you go to a few open mics, you get up on stage, um, you come off stage. Are you feeling, yeah, this is something I want to do in my spare time, or oh, I'm not really good at this. Like, what was your thought process? What was your feeling like?
Yeah, I think it was actually both of those things. In that,
Okay.
I think a lot of people, like myself, like when you start off in things, you're not going to be amazing of it, like right
Yeah.
off the bat. But I realized that I enjoyed myself doing it, even though uh, my quality wasn't quite where I saw myself going. And I could see what the gaps were, and I knew I could get to that point at if I had enough time and training and wherewithal. And that's why I like doing this as well. That like a lot of comedians, I record my sets, and
Yeah.
it's very gratifying to see your progress over time. Like I've
Okay.
learned that I'm not a very competitive person against other people, but I'm very competitive against myself. So I like being able to see, okay, a few months ago, this is how I was doing this joke, or this is how I
Yeah.
was presenting myself on stage. And then seeing the progress, like sometimes I cringe at some of my early performances, which
Yeah.
I see is
Sure.
actually like, yeah, like just, and I think that's like a compliment to yourself that you are progressing. I think if you're watching old stuff and you're like, nailed it, then you're probably doing something wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, do you remember, not including an open mic, your first joke that you told on stage? Maybe it's one of your showcase performances.
Yeah, I think I do. The first joke that I really like felt was a joke that I was confident putting on. So the background is this is actually something that came up in conversation. I was talking to my wife. We are talking about just money and cost of living and whatnot. And so the joke that I said on stage was, I'm not doing great money wise. When I got married, I told my wife that we'd eventually be part of the financial 1%, but I never specified top or bottom. And I just love that joke so much. I'm not saying it's
Yeah.
like the best joke ever, but it's very like economical. Like there's very little like fat on it,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I really like jokes that are very much in the voice of the comedian. And again, this is something that I said as a joke to her, and being able
Yeah.
to convert them to something that's presentable. I think to me is like the goal.
I like your thought about it. It's very economical. Not a lot of fat. It's like it's simple, 2, 3 lines. You get it. There's a quick setup. You understand it, and there's the surprise at the end.
Exactly. Yeah, I think a lot of comedians, I mean, myself included, they put so much onto it, which I think coincidentally they think is going to make it better. But I think sometimes when you just strip stuff away to make it really, really hit.
Yeah, I need to work on that
Yeah,
myself. I
yeah.
need to work on that myself.
But I'm
So,
sure like having a podcast must help with that as well. Because again,
hmm,
maybe not, but I feel like when I was doing it, like I was very mindful of how I was presenting, knowing it's going to be recorded later on. But I don't know. Are you finding that
no,
is,
so
is
it's very
helpful?
so interesting you say that. Everything I've ever done, did I felt did not prepare me
Really?
for stand. I was nervous as hell. I go because it's a different muscle because no matter what kind of podcast. So I've done a music podcast. I've done I've interviewed politicians, musicians, authors, business people, comedians now. And at no point in time is my goal to make somebody laugh every 15 to 30 seconds to 1 minute.
Sure.
It is to have a conversation with them. Even on this one, it's not to make you laugh. It's not to make me laugh. It's for us to have a conversation and to understand comedians and comedy from a very basic level. Not from what makes Kevin Hart tick, but what makes somebody who just got started, or somebody who not a lot of people know. Or if I'm lucky enough, maybe a lot of people do know them. But you know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
Um, that's my goal with this, and similar to you. I've had to do presentations at work. I've been on stage at work, at conferences and stuff, panel discussions, and again, the goal isn't to make someone laugh. It is to have conversations, to pass on information. And so I was so nervous going on stage, people looking at me, and in my head I go, I have to make them laugh. I don't want them to laugh at me. I want them to laugh with me.
True. True.
Right?
But I mean,
So
not to disagree with you, but I feel like those experiences probably helped you, even though you weren't focused on generating funny material. Like I
yeah,
feel like when you're doing a podcast, like right now, when you're interviewing someone, you have to
yeah,
be a bit quick on your feet, right? To know and
sure, yeah,
anticipate what someone's going to say. So I feel like a lot of stand up is that being able to like look natural and react in a way that's engaging, whether it's funny or not.
yeah. You got a
Um,
point there. You got a point
yeah.
there. Yeah, for sure. Um, so you tell this joke, one
Yes.
percent. We don't know
Yes.
whether it's the top or if it's the bottom. Um, what was the reaction? Was the reaction what you were looking for? Did it make you feel good? What kind of reaction did you get the first time you told that?
Yeah, this was, I felt very good about it.
Yeah.
And this was in the context of a class where,
Okay.
I mean, the people there were going to be were supportive, but also
Okay.
honest.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think what I really liked about it was that, again, it wasn't my voice. And, I really only do like clean comedy. And I'm
Okay.
not saying that's how everyone should be, but that's my own style. And I
Yeah.
found that in the class, not that everyone was super vulgar, but they
Sure.
all had styles that were very different from mine. And so it felt nice to get a reaction to a joke that I told that they were
Hmm.
all like, yeah, that's a joke that, that's a very like Husein joke. And I think
Okay.
someone said something like that. I mean, my teacher said something like that as well.
Yeah.
I think that's what, when you know you're doing something well, I want to caveat that a lot of my jokes are not of that quality right now. But I think it's nice when like your perception of how the joke is matches the audience's reaction as well.
Yeah. How long have you been doing this for, Hussein?
Yeah, I wouldn't. I'd say a year and a half or 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
And have you, you talked about earlier how you'll look back or you listen to your earlier jokes and you cringe sometimes. But what I'm curious about is have you found, I don't know, your style, your approach, your voice, have you found that that's changed at all?
It's a really good question. So I think, but in both forms, yes. And one thing is that
Okay.
I have some very supportive friends and family who watch a
Yeah.
lot of my shows, and they'll
Okay.
also tell me like recently they're like, "Wow, you're so good. You've improved so much." And I was like, "Well, what did you think I was doing before?" But again, it's nice. At least they're seeing the improvement as well. But yeah, I
Yeah.
think in terms of like what I'm seeing in terms of like the writing is I'm
Hmm.
right. It sounds very cliche, but it's more in my own voice.
Okay.
And I got some advice recently about just writing material that's not jokes, just like things that you have opinions about, and then identifying what the observations are and what you can build out. I think a lot of people start by saying, "What's funny? This," without identifying how do I actually feel about things. Because the way that I feel about things is going to be different from the way that you do, the way that whoever's listening to this is going to feel as well. And I think recognizing that no one perspective is right or wrong, but there's going to be something funny about your opinion regardless. And I
Yeah.
felt
Very
before,
interesting.
I sometimes felt like I needed to like play a character that was more similar to a lot of the audience. But now I'm feeling a bit more comfortable in my own voice and with things that I think are funny and making a pitch to convey that as well.
That's very interesting. Hussein, this has been a great chat. Before we end, tell everybody where can people find you online so that if you're doing any shows or if you're posting anything from past shows, where can they find you online?
Yeah, thanks for asking, Kareem. So the best place to follow is my Instagram handle, which is at high comedic value. So HIGH comedic value. That's where I post my weekly web comics. I post
Okay,
clips and my upcoming shows as well, and caricatures of comedians as well.
perfect. High comedic value on Instagram. We'll make sure to link that in our show notes. Everyone, thanks for tuning in to this episode of My First Joke. I hope you had as much fun listening as I had chatting with Husein Panju. So if you enjoyed the show, subscribe to My First Joke wherever you listen to podcasts so you never miss an episode. Share it with your friends. Take a moment to rate, review, and five-star the podcast. I do have a son in university. I need all the positive reviews you can get. We need to monetize this thing. The website is myfirstjoke.ca. My name is Karim Kanji. Until next time, remember.
Keep it legal.
From the lawyer himself. Thank you so much, Hussein.
Thank you.